morning, everyone. My name is Emily Quarles-Maurer, and I am a member of the worship committee here at the UUFP, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Provincetown. We gather this rainy morning where even nature has decided to share in our labor of water. And we carve out space in our hearts and our minds for our sacred journey. We are once again this morning reminded of blessings of technology that allow us to meet together in person as well as over time and space. And we are once again reminded of the blessings of community that bring us together. Today, we will unfortunately not have music played by the lovely Carly Shell. You're going to have to make do with a not even third rate, try like a fourth rate, fifth rate pianist. I made it all the way through sixth grade. So we'll try. But we will send a shout out to Rick Dusty for being our technology lead today. Thank you so much. For over 50 years, the UUFP has been a liberal religious voice in the Pottstown area. As UUs, we believe that reason and wonder have no conflicts. We believe that we can honor those who have gone before us and their teachings, while we still explore the new ideas brought to us by the scientists of tomorrow. We believe that no one, no matter what, is outside the circle of compassion and justice. So when we come here, we hope that your spirit and your heart and your mind are refreshed as we commit ourselves once again to our Sunday guidance. We come together this Sunday morning and every Sunday morning, not because we share a creed, but because we share a promise. We promise to support one another on our spiritual journey. Our services are different every week, but the loving kindness we share here remains the same. So whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, and however you found us, whomever you love, we are glad you came to be with us today. And now is the time for announcements. If anyone has an announcement pertinent to the UFP, please come on up, use one of the microphones, and give your business.
I'm Alan Pallet. I'm a member of the board and the worship committee, and I have the following announcement. Reverend Kim Wilson will be conducting Sunday services on September 18th and October 2nd. The board has had preliminary discussions with Reverend Wilson about the possibility of her serving us as a quarter-time minister. Please try to attend these services because the board will be asking for your input before it makes a decision about whether to pursue this further. The timing for making this decision and how we will gather your input will be communicated to you at a later date. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rick. I have two brief announcements. Announcement number one is the committee council meeting will be this Thursday evening at 7:30 via Zoom. So please join us. We were doing calendaring for the year, so it's an important one. And my second announcement is the board meeting will be on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
I have an amendment to the service upcoming. My neighbor and retired minister, Jack Apperly, was going to be doing a lovely sermon about Lincoln, as you may have seen in the Sojourner. Unfortunately, he has been stricken with a reversible medical illness. I have been pondering his service about prayer and what it means or does not mean to us as UUs. So I'm going to work on that, and I will be presenting my thoughts about that in about 2 minutes. There's an amendment to the services.
We are UUs. We are nothing if not flexible. I think today's September 11th, so I think we should take a moment of silence for what happened in New York, and Washington, and Western PA 21 years ago today. Okay. Today is our traditional in-gathering start of the new fellowship year. And it comes, and the reason we have to start, I think everybody in here knows it, is because a lot of UU churches, fellowships, societies take the summer off between Memorial and Labor Day. They just don't meet now. We always meet here all year long, but on this Sunday, we notice that usually as the fall, we head into fall, folks that we haven't seen all summer start meandering back in. It's also the time of year when those of us here, plus parents, students, and teachers wonder, where on earth did the summer go? And every year it seems like it just started and it's over. The UU tradition of water communion, or gathering of the waters, as we're calling it this morning, was started in 1980 when Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview, they were asked to create a service for the Women and Religious Continental Congregation of Unitarian Universalism. And this was actually done in the fall, but they said they wanted to come up with a new ritual, because we don't have very many, that they wanted to come up with a new ritual that spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on the planet. And they decided an inclusive symbol was water, because it flows through everything. Water is, they said, water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence, acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came. It is the womb of life, and that amniotic fluid, and that the text is too small here, and that amniotic waters surround each of us prenatally. And now we realize in this worship service that was born a new story of creation. We chose water as our symbol of our empowerment. Of course, since then, it's been expanded to include members of all UU congregations. So what we do is we are going to share our special stories and why it's been meaningful for us. I don't know. So we're going to continue this morning, and then we're going to head right now into our next one of our other rituals, which is lighting of the chalice, which will be done by Alan.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Emily, for your usual very nice opening word. Every year at our in-gathering service, we merge water that we have collected from places we have traveled in the past year. So this year, to accompany the lighting of the chalice, I will offer a few words in appreciation of water itself. We are here today. We owe our existence to an evolutionary process that was largely made possible by the presence of water on our planet. And of course, our continuing existence is dependent on the rain that falls. But water does more than just enable our existence. It enriches it. For water is largely responsible for many of the beautiful things on earth. The lovely lakes and rivers, a blanket of freshly fallen snow. The beauty of the biological world, a beauty that is particularly evident in the rich flora on landscapes that have abundant water. Landscapes like our own. And we can travel to places that have awesome canyons and mountains. Canyons and mountains that have been carved by water. And we can go to places in the far north or south where we can see mountains made of water. And we could look up and sometimes see huge, white, billowy sculptures of water vapor in the sky and more. So I light the chalice this morning in appreciation of all that water gives us.
That was lovely, thank you. All right. Get to the mundane. But one of the reasons we've all been here, that we've been here for 50 years, is because of the generosity of everybody, or 55 years. Is because of the generosity of the folks who walk through our doors, our members and our friends. So we give generously as John passes the basket. And we'll go into Spirit of Life. And then right after that, we're immediately going to go into Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Take a Okay, I see I goofed a little bit. What happens when this is different than this? We'll do, because if we do it the way we're ending up, we're going to do, shall we, all three songs in a row? So let's move, shall we gather at the river to where the closing hymn is, and then we'll do, how about we do Blue Boat Home for the closing afterwards, at the very end. Because Lisa will be here. So we'll move Enter, shall we gather at the river down to, we'll figure it out. Lisa Joe will be joining us. So now, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, number 361. Thank you, Emily. Okay. So we're ready to gather the waters. As Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shutter Longview said, water is the source of all life. We're going, checking out Mars to see if we can go, or find out if there's water up there first. Our bodies are almost 2/3 water, and we can only live for about 3 days without it. A nice glass of water on a hot day cannot be beat, whether you drink it or you dump it over the top of your head. There's an absolute joy in the full body immersion when you cannonball into a pool, or you wade into a lake or a river or a stream, or you dive into the waves of the ocean, or simply run through the sprinkler in your backyard. Every one of us has at least one of those experiences in our life. But there's something else that I really love about water, and it's the sound. Think about, I don't know, probably everybody or most of us have been to Niagara. And you go up there and you look at them and you think, wow, they're beautiful. But the other thing I do is I just close my eyes and listen to them and hear that roar. It's the most amazing, wonderful sound. When we were little, we stayed at a motel that was right on the Niagara River, not far from the falls. And we would start to walk over to look at it, and we were told, get back, and so we came back. But all night long, we could hear the falls going down, that wonderful sound. And then, is there anything better than sleeping, listening to the ocean crashing onto the shore, or rushing against the hull of the ship? I don't think it can be beat. I think it's just wonderful. It's not always our friend, because sometimes it doesn't show up when we want it during droughts. Or if there's too much of it, like in Pakistan right now, or when the Mississippi decides it's going to flood. But water is the necessary thing of life. So this morning, we're coming and we're sharing our waters from the year, or our substitute waters out of the picture over there. Some of us may have water, there may be water from all over the place, or from home or backyards, or right here at the UUFP. But no matter where they come from, all need something special, and there will be stories for us. And we're, you know, so we didn't have a children's event. We're keeping the children in here because the children have had fun with water this year too. At least I know certain ones have. So we would like to come up. I think it's probably easier if everybody kind of gets in line and just tell their stories. And I've started what's in there already is from a jar that we've saved from the past. And that's in there for all the other water ceremonies that we've had. And then we will put some more put some of what we have in there now, and then we'll add to it this morning, and then we'll save some of it. And I think we usually go and pour it on the tree out there for Bob Jones. That's what I remember doing. If it's too wet, we'll do it later in the week with a little less ceremony. So everybody who wants to start, don't all rush up here at once now.
This is water from our new well. At 90 feet, it was clear. We did water at 14 feet.
Somebody who knows what happened with the water.
Hi, I'm Judy. I'm gonna be using the communal picture, and this symbolizes the water I will share in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I will be in Hungary visiting friends outside of Budapest. And as I think we all know, there's just such a terrible drought around the world, places around the world. Pakistan unfortunately just has the opposite problem, but the Danube is in terrible shape right now. As the Rhine is, and rivers all over the place, and I'm sure they would love to have this water, but this symbolizes, that'd be good. Water that we share around the world.
Few weeks ago, we traveled to Minnesota to visit my son, and we then traveled north to the northwest coast of Lake Superior. And there are a series of rivers or large streams which flow from the highlands north and west of Lake Superior into Lake Superior. And these rivers cut deep canyons into the earth. And also there are waterfalls along the way and rapids. And we hiked up these streams and we saw the great beauty of these waterfalls and rapids and canyons. So we took some water from that area.
Began my real working career as a mariner. A brief time with the Navy, and then years on merchant ships, freighters, tankers, going out from the land, crossing the sea to the next land over there. My father did the same thing when he was a young man. He left the island on which he was born and traveled to America. So going to sea is an old and important thing to me. I have done it for so much of my professional life. The sea is there, and it is a marvel. When you hear the sound of the ocean moving past your ship, you know how big and how wonderful it can be. In the last year, I've been nowhere, or less than nowhere. I've been at Saratoga, which is, it was intended, I think, originally to be a place for early recovery place. And now it is increasingly a shelter for the elderly. And there are people there now who will have no opportunity. They've lived their lives. They will have no opportunity to go further across the sea. But I have done it, and I am glad I did. Better water I can add to the pot. Reminds me of that time.
Okay, my water's from a whole, would be from a whole bunch of places. First, from throughout the year, I've had a lot of experience with it. Represents what started in the Southern Ocean, where I did not do the polar plunge in the 27-degree water. Also from my sisters and my trip to Missouri to do some family research. So it's the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers, and you'd be glad you're not getting the real water because it's really dirty. There's a picture of it that's going to show up somewhere. That one is, that's Mississippi, and she lovely. The previous one was from when Linda Pillay and I went down to Washington for a few days, and the World War II Memorial, the reflection pool that they now let you cool off in, but it's also, or your feet if you go anywhere they go in. And, but also the swimming pools at John and Hayes, and at my development where I got to know some of our fellow UUFPers so much better. And last but not least in my world, it's that garden hose out back, because as everybody who's in the garden with me knows, it was squirted on me quite a bit. That's the only way I survived that summer out in the garden.
Hi, I'm Ruby here with my son Sam, and we're going to be sharing some thoughts about some places we went over the summer. This is a picture of our family in front of the dock at Lake Erie, where we go to visit Chris's family. And we've seen some beautiful sunsets on that dock. So I don't know if you can see the sun both set and rise from there, but I have yet to get up early enough to see a sunrise. Picture, this is our local pool where we belong, Laurelwood Pool, in North Coventry. And the kids this year both started to swim on their pre-teen there, a new experience for them. But this is the water almost right in our backyard. Oh, there's another picture from the lake on a different night of a different sunset, but still really beautiful. See, and this is our dinky little pool in our backyard, which the kids love, and it goes to show you that you don't need fancy, you just need cold and wet on a hot day. And we went to go visit Grandma this summer on Long Island Sound. That's in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And so this would be the East Coast. So from the North Coast to the East Coast to right back to our backyard, these were our experiences this summer. And Sam has water that came from the pool in our backyard. We grabbed some before it all drained out, because it is time, unfortunately, to drain the pool for the year.
Good morning. I'm Miranda. This is symbol of the water in our front yard, about 100 yards away. Up in Lake Wall and Outback, and just maybe 40 feet from the back door, the swimming pool in our backyard, which has hosted many happy family times together, and would have hosted today. another happy community time, but for the rain. Because tomorrow is Jenny's 19th birthday. So I'm grateful, and here's to family around the pool and the lake.
I just wanted to simply say thank you to the Atlantic Ocean for all the good times. And to maybe apologize, I guess, if we humans do anything that seems lacking in gratitude.
Hi, Monica, Nicole, and Tyson. We spent a lot of time at the ocean this year and at the lake, and freshwater is my favorite. I love, I studied freshwater biology in college and I love it. And one of my favorite memories is when my oldest son, Maddox, who is hiding in the bathroom, he once said to me, "Mom, my favorite color is pond." And I just thought that was so cool. He was like 4. And it was just such a neat thing to say, and I love pond too.
So when I was at the ocean, I got hit by a really big wave. And it hurt. And then when I was at the lake this year, we went to go kayaking, and well, my brother splashed me with water and I almost tipped over.
Hi, John. So I have multiple experiences of life that circle around water. Back in the days when I did a fair bit of hiking, it was nothing better than hearing a stream, because that was a source of sustenance. If you didn't have enough water in your canteen, you were going a long distance. Always great to know you heard the trickle of a stream because you knew there was some water nearby. It also was a good marker if you didn't know where you were going, to know that there was a stream around someplace, because it often was your guide. The second, back to the ocean. I hadn't been on the ocean for many years, and I'd forgotten how powerful the waves were. So it was foolish me. I walked right into the ocean saying, "Oh, here I come." Boom. And down I went, because I forgot the power, the sheer power of the ocean and the waves, which is a reminder of that fact. The third, many, many years ago when I was a camper, it was a Judaic camp. We always had Friday services. As a camp counselor, it was a very busy life. I mean, you had kids getting up at 7 who were, in my case, I was running a 10 or 11-year-old group, just endless energy all day long and all week long. And the one time we got to settle down with the Friday services, which are held at the lakefront, by what was called the crib. So you sat there, and I still remember, you looked to the left and the sun was setting, beautiful reflection on a very still lake. And you hear the folks in the community just kind of gently hitting their moorings. It was just such a, and I still remember, it's just an incredible sense of peace in a very busy lifestyle that we had. And my final comment is, I there's a farm stand I go to on my way home where I get various fresh fruits and vegetables. And I remember being there a couple of weeks ago, and the guy who ran the place said he was about a week away from losing a lot of things, and so people who live in Pennsylvania had already passed the Rubicon in terms of not having water. Farming is such an act of faith, because unless you irrigate, you totally trust Mother Nature to water your crops when they need to be. If it's too much, they rot. If it's not enough, they don't grow. So we should be thankful that we turn on a tap and have water. Unfortunately, not the case with farmers.
I'm not going to pour water into the bowl.
to illustrate the absence of water. The place we visited this year was California, visit my brother. And everybody's heard about the water troubles in California. And while he's in Bay Area, not in Southern California, they still have water troubles up there. And it's not just water troubles, it's also power troubles because of the wet reservoirs that have the big dams. They can't generate, when it drops down below a certain level, they can't generate electricity either. And I often worry about him as I'm like filling up a pot of water to boil macaroni and stuff like that, and the excesses that I can enjoy in an area like this that other people, and not just California, but around the world, that have water issues because of climate change and all that nasty stuff. So I'm actually not going to put water in a bowl for that reason.
Hi, I'm Linda. I will pour in water to represent water from the Netherlands. And when my trip to the Netherlands, I think what was so impactful to me is you were looking at a nation that is at any point 3 to 10 meters below sea level. So when you talk about a nation that learns to deal with water, the Netherlands do. But I think what was really impressive is obviously they're being impacted by climate change with rising sea levels. But they have had the attitude of how to work with the water versus what I observe here in the United States and some of the other countries is we are still trying to control the water, right? So we build those dams and, so that we can create areas of populace. And what they are starting to do is how do we work with the water? It is part of their everyday life, and how do we live with it? So I'm ordering for that.
Hi, Erica inspired me not to pour water in. I'm thinking of the people in Jackson who just are still under a boil of water and don't really know when they're going to get their normal water back. If I had water with me, it would be 5 little bits of next to water. And one little bit would be from Berkshire Commons, from which I just retired on the 4th of July. I still go back there to do some music for them occasionally, but at 76, it was time to retire. So I appreciate that I could work there, be close to home in case my husband needed me off of that. And also a water from Bethany Lutheran Church where I work, and I appreciate that they are very lenient and liberal Lutherans and don't mind that I'm Unitarian. One of their former organists was Jewish, and so I think that's just wonderful. I like it. I would put water in from my house because we've been there a lot with the COVID. And I would put in water from my son's 2 houses. I'm so fortunate. My son Walter lives in Boyertown and just rented a house. And my older son lives in Trapp and has a lovely house, and they are so close to me. I'm very fortunate as a mother and grandmother to have this place. So thank you.
Okay, we will now do what we were going to do before. Shall we gather at the river 1046 in the Teal hymnal? And then Lisa will be coming back up here, and she will do the, you do know this, right? Yeah, sorry. The extinguishing the chalice and our closing words, and after the closing words, we'll go home.
River,
will do the extinguishing of the chalice, and then I have two small readings for, the closing words. And so we can extinguish it. We extinguish our chalice, flame, but not the light of wisdom, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and in our hands until we are together again. I was asked by the church I'm working for to preach on the 25th of September because, like here, it's hard to get ministers anymore. If you, in case you don't realize that small churches are having a huge problem finding ministers, even if they try to have one minister serve two small congregations. So we find that Bethany, like UUFP, is having a lot of lay-led services, and that's quite new for them. I'll be doing this concise summary of the 3 sermons I did here about conservation. And for that, I wanted to read this short piece. For the beauty of the earth, this spinning blue-green ball, yes, Gaia, mother of everything, we walk gently across your back to come together again in this place, to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create how we will be, Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live. Welcome us. It was written by minister, Unitarian minister Barbara Pescan, and I believe she is still living. I found a reading that is for ingathering. The Winds of Summer by Patricia Schulte. You and I and all of us blew about with the winds of summer, following the sun in different ways of freedom and play, finding rest in the cool stillness of shadows and moving to the slow, heart-struck rhythms which turn the long hours of summer light. Now it is time for gathering in. We come together at this time and in this place on the bridge of autumn. Summer is fading backward into memory and winter waits in snowy brilliance. We meet with eagerness and delight, meeting one another for sharing. I repeat, we meet with delight, meeting one another for sharing. We have joys and sorrows and hopes to share, questions, things we care about, and want to help make better. Things that we would like to understand, ideas waiting to be heard. Today, we are together in gladness once more, the special community that we call our church. A community of all ages that sings its songs, tells its thoughts, asks its questions, and searches together with courage and with love. I'm courageously playing this at the last moment. This is hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Come.
part of what brings us back each week is a sense of community. And part of the way we build our community is by sharing the ups and downs in our lives. We've moved this portion of the service to the end so that people who don't feel comfortable having their ups and downs broadcast